Disclaimer, this is just my opinion of NCS and me talking about my experiences. I do not want to dictate whether you try it for yourself or not, so only take what I say with a pinch of salt. So, in my opinion, I think the first week was probably the best week. It was something that I've only done a few times where you get to go on the residential. I think I'd only done it about 2 times. So I guess it was kind of cool to be able to do activities after my GCSEs in my case. But I think for the first week, the best part was definitely staying in a room with your mates for a week like for us, it was a massive tent. But I know for others, it was either a little hut or there was a physical building. But I know in the building it was only small bedrooms, but for us it was bedrooms of 4 and then they were all connected, so you could just take down the so-called walls and to connect yourself with your mates. So I think that was the best bit, being able to stay up later with them. The only problem was because there was about 12 of us and 2 showers. So if everyone wanted a shower in the morning, which was kind of rare, but let's say at least half wanted a shower in the morning, your breakfast was at like 8. You'd have to be up. So I'm desperate for a shower, so I got up at like 6. But the water wasn't hot until about 7:30, so right before you went to get breakfast, so only few of you could get it before breakfast. And then after breakfast, your time was limited to get a shower. So that was kind of a downside unless you like cold showers, which was some people, but I didn't. And speaking about food, the breakfast, it wasn't that good. The sausages tasted like really manufactured. The dinners weren't that enjoyable. They were all just a bit bland. You look at it on the menu and you think, oh, that looks good. My biggest problem I had with this first week was just getting treated like kids. It will probably be different depending where you go for your residential, but here we were treated like kids. Getting to chant stuff, and they weren't mean to us, they were very nice to us, but I didn't like the way they were nice to us because they were just getting us to do things like chanting, and I'm like, I'm not a little kid anymore. There were some good activities and some were rubbish. So for example, the good ones was definitely raft building. Raft building was like really good, and then we went canoeing in a river. So like the water sports are always good in my opinion. And then there was climbing as well, which was good, but there's some rubbish ones like little team tasks. You might be into that kind of stuff, but I wasn't. It was kind of boring. There was like a massive platform kind of thing that you had to balance, or there was also like things you had to pull people up onto. It was all about working together and cooperation, and I just didn't like that. So there was good ones, but it was probably like 60% good ones, 40% bad ones. You get put with other people and you don't really speak to them much on the first week because this is only the second time you've ever met potentially, or third. But there was people in our tent who we did become mates with. So it just depends who you're with and who you spend time with. But overall, like the first week, it was decent. There was things that weren't cool, but paying like 50 quid, it's fine for a week's holiday virtually with your mates. In the second week, it was also very good to be able to stay with your mates again. And the buildings were a lot better and a lot warmer. So I guess it was different to having to stay in the tent. You know, if you like to be outdoors, that's fine. And the showers were warm 24/7. And we also had takeaway every night. And I think a lot of people also did that. So I know it's unhealthy, but it just adds to the experience. And we also got closer with the people, not just in our group. Seems though we've had the first week, and then second week we were very close with them. We'd spend so much time with them, and people outside of our group who were also grown closer with, even though we saw them about the same amount as we did in the first week. But in my opinion, the downside of this second week was the activities weren't as enjoyable. So in our case, we had to get a bus every morning to this college. The activities, some were physical activities, but they weren't as good, like making the balloon person thing, making a fashion show. It wasn't as enjoyable, wasn't as physical. Like every day we had to go to a classroom and sit there, and there was one day where we had a debate about a range of things, which was like really good because you got to, you know, grow closer to your group and know what their views and stuff are, which is always going to be a good thing, and it's probably a lot more beneficial for you academic. Another bad thing was the early wake up. I don't think it was as early as last time, but they still wanted you out early. So the first week we didn't start activities till like 9:30. Here we wanted to get out at like 8. So that wasn't good, especially if you were up till like 12 or even later with your mates, and everyone my age is just wanting more sleep. And finally, another downside was in our room. So it's in our case, it was university dorms, and it was 6 rooms with 1 kitchen, all en suites, and there was 3 rooms including me with my mates, even though there's more of us, but they could only fit so many of us, so we kind of split ourselves. And then there was also a instructor, you would call them, a teacher, maybe something like that, a staff member in another room. They wanted you in your rooms by 12, so we couldn't just sit around in the kitchen for a while, otherwise they'd come and tell you to get into bed. With us, we had mates in other rooms and other floors. They couldn't stay in ours for a long time because, one, they get kicked out by the staff member, and also the doors would lock, which I guess is a safety precaution, you know, that's understandable. Overall, I think the second week was still very enjoyable, and a lot more enjoyable than the last 2, which I'll come on to now. So the last 2 weeks of our NCS experience was all about helping out with charity in the community. So in our case, we looked to raise money for autism awareness, whilst we were also doing little things like we did litter picking for the community. So you get the choice really whether you want to like focus on the community or if you want to focus it all on a charity. So we were more weighted towards like a charity and put more effort into that, but we also helped out with like the locals and stuff. And out of all of them, I think this definitely looks best on your CV when you can say you spent 2 weeks non-stop just helping the community and helping whoever you want to help and doing good. There was different groups who did better than others. So some groups on the presentation night that you have a month or so afterwards, there were some groups who'd raise like at least $2,000, and then some of them had only raised a few £100. It's still good that you're raising money, but I think some groups really tried hard with this and some didn't, so it depends who you're with and whether they want to help out with charity or not. A downside of this was there was some restrictions on what we could actually do. So we planned right at the start a bunch of interesting things we could do that would really be cool things to do, like playing tennis for 24 hours, but you couldn't physically do that. And there was also restrictions safeguarding wise as well, so NCS themselves wouldn't you let you do this because of your age and stuff. But in my opinion, this last 2 weeks weren't as fun as the first 2, and I think everyone else thought that, but I think we all recognised this was definitely the most beneficial for ourselves and the community and how it's going to look on our CV. In conclusion, I would certainly say this is very, very good value, you know, 50 quid, 45 quid, depending how you pay for it. It's basically a 2-week holiday plus 2 weeks of just getting good stuff on your CV. So I think it is very good value for what you get to do. And also I think it really does stand out on your CV compared to other people. I don't think any universities or when you go for a job or whenever you want to put it on your CV or your personal statement, I don't think they're going to look into it too much and go, hold on, this looks like it was a 2-week holiday. Doesn't sound like you've been helping out with charity most of the time, which you haven't, and it just looks brilliant. But I would also like to repeat that this is only my opinion, so I would not like to dictate whether you go or not. With all my disadvantages, I don't want you to take them and go, hold on, I can't do this. Look into this for yourself and not just rely on what I've said. So thanks for watching, and if you can, I'd really like it if you subscribed, because we are a really original channel and I think you'd really enjoy our content, so go have a look at what everyone else has made.